A few years ago, I got a call from my sister saying her 8-year-old daughter wasn't feeling well. We talked for a while, but I didn't think much of it. Kids fall sick all the time. But later she called again, saying she was on her way to the city with her daughter and her husband to seek medical attention at one of the country's best hospitals. That's when I got the inkling that it was serious. I told her that it was fine and that I'd accommodate them. When I finally saw my niece, I was shocked. She was completely paralyzed. Her neck couldn't even stay up. She couldn't speak, move, nothing. Poor kid. When I asked what had happened, they said she had just woken up one morning like that. It worried me too, so I immediately drove them to the hospital. At the hospital, the doctors ran their tests, but couldn't find anything wrong with her. So we were told to come at a later date to meet a certain doctor who didn't seem to find anything wrong with her either. The tests were coming out normal, as if she was able-bodied, which didn't make sense. We took her to a lot of doctors, and none of them seemed to have the faintest idea of what was wrong with her. It kept feeling more and more hopeless with each failed attempt to diagnose her. The only option we had, as we waited for a miracle, was physical therapy. Then one day, at the hospital, while the parents were carrying the girl out of the car, a woman nearby kept staring at us. I didn't think much of it with the state my niece was in. Plus, she looked like just another guardian waiting for someone. After staring for a while, she pulled me aside and asked me what was wrong with the child. I explained and she was just shaking her head the whole time. Before commenting on what I had said, she asked me for airtime to make a call to her hometown, which I found a bit odd. I thought asking about my niece was just a way she used to get my attention. I didn't want to make a scene, so I just bought the airtime. She told me to wait for her to talk to whoever was at the end of the phone. She then hung up. "This number belongs to a certain traditional healer from my hometown. When you have time, call her. She'll help you," she said. I just got the number and thanked her. I wasn't sure of what to think, so I just kept it. Later that day, when the doctor we were hoping to see didn't show up for the appointment, I told my sister and my brother-in-law about the lady who had pulled me aside. When I was telling them all this, it was more like me just sharing the experience, not knowing they'd actually want to go ahead and try the traditional healer route. I didn't really like the idea, because I have never been the superstitious type, and I honestly thought it was pointless. But since it was their daughter in question here, I felt it was their call to make, so we went ahead and called the number. We were told where to find them, and by the next day, we hit the road. My sister didn't want to waste any time. We drove to a rural area where we met the woman we had called. She took one look at the girl and then asked us to take her inside. A few minutes later, she came back and told us the child was suffering because of disputes over farmland. I didn't understand, but the parents looked at each other without uttering a word. It seemed they knew what the traditional healer was talking about. The woman then gave them strict instructions. They were to go back home. Very early in the morning, before anyone else entered their field, they were to carry my niece to the middle of the field, set her down, and walk away without looking back. She repeated it several times. "Whatever you do, don't look back." When she was finished, she released us. And when I tried to give her a little something for her time, she refused, which kind of surprised me. I have always seen traditional healers as scammers, and this one refusing to receive payment from us didn't fit the frame, which made me wonder if she was actually for real. It still lingered in my mind for a while, but I decided to wait to see what happens when we do as instructed. On the way home, my sister and my brother-in-law told me about their ongoing conflict with some family over the piece of land the healer lady was talking about, which all led me to believe that maybe this traditional healer was for real, since there was no way she could have known that if she wasn't in fact the real deal. For the first time in a while, we were hopeful that my niece would get better. The next morning, we followed the instructions. It wasn't easy, carrying my 8-year-old niece while she cried in pain, then leaving her alone in the middle of the field and walking away without looking back. Considering that she was paralyzed, leaving her out there in the cold broke our hearts, but we had to think of the greater good, so indeed we left her there. We went home and started waiting, which was the worst part. not knowing what was going to happen to her, or how and when we were supposed to go back and get her. Luckily, around 7 a.m., the family my sister and brother-in-law were having disputes with showed up at the house while holding on to my niece's hand. She was walking on her own. I can't explain the feeling I had in that moment. Just the day before, I had carried this lifeless little girl to hospitals where doctors shook their heads helplessly. I had seen her body limp, her neck unable to hold itself up, and her voice completely gone. And now here she was, walking, crying, and alive. But then what stunned me most was the reaction of the couple. They looked upset, almost angry, as if they realized we had gone to see a traditional healer, something they themselves had clearly done too. "Did you have to take this small issue all the way there?" they asked, looking pissed. I wonder what they expected us to do. They just handed over my niece and left. We never heard anything concerning the land again ever since that day. My niece went on to live her life normally, as if none of the paralysis had ever taken place. Ever since that day, when I hear people dismissing the existence of paranormal activity, I just know they haven't experienced it firsthand. There is nothing you can say that will make such people believe you. Some things you just got to see for yourself to believe.